death world. It's a word that gets tossed around a lot. Small wonder. Death worlds make for great fiction. The hardy settlers, bending a hostile land to their will. The marooned explorer, struggling to survive with nothing but the salvage from his ruined craft in a place where flora and fauna alike conspire against him. The bold adventurer, traveling to the most dangerous part of some horror planet to bring back an artifact of some sort. Whatever the case, a death world makes a perfect backdrop to show how tough, how smart, how indomitable your hero is. Of course, nobody ever stops to think about what's really going to kill you. Just look at the humans' home planet. The humans come from a classic death world. Upwards of 10% of the animal population is carnivorous, and their prey is just as vicious. It has to be. The plant life there has evolved countermeasures ranging from neurotoxins to false pheromones to creator knows what else. Some of the plants have even evolved active predation abilities, and many more have evolved into virtual herbivores, parasites only capable of surviving by leeching from and consuming other plants. Their homeworld is a place where virtually everything is actively trying to murder something. Less than a tenth of a standard cycle after the wreck ship Enchedidic touched down on Earth. The secondary ambassador reported extreme thoracical discomfort and excused himself to return to his quarters. Another 10th SC after that, he was dead, his organs vacated through his bowels, and every other crew member was dead with him or dying. Symptoms ranged from internal liquefaction to internal temperature regulation failure to flesh, simply rotting from the body and falling away in clumps. A few collapsed and passed away without any obvious cause. These were the lucky ones. War nearly broke out then and there, as the Rake suspected some sort of weapons testing on the part of the humans. But the human diplomats eventually convinced them that something even more frightening was in play: hostile viruses and bacteria. You see, on a death world, even the microorganisms are lethal. The humans knew of several thousand strains of single-cell life capable of fatally incapacitating one of their species, and this was a species which had been biologically selected over millions of years to resist these precise diseases. On a death world, microorganisms are part of an evolutionary arms race as much as any larger creature, and Earth's had evolved almost without exception to propagate to the maximum possible extent in the minimum amount of time. Humans and other Earth species had a variety of natural defenses to limit the growth of what they termed benign strains, and to slow or stop malignant ones. The Rake had no such defenses, and the humans estimated that from the moment they arrived, the ambassadors and their crew were exposed to over 1,800 different microorganisms from the air alone. Under the tragic circumstances, the decision was made to suspend further non-electronic contact and return to the wreck homeworld of Altrak. After some debate, it was decided not to attempt to retrieve the crew of the Enchedidic, for fear of spreading the diseases further. The scanning and military support ships were recalled to their mothership, and preparations for a homeward journey began. But then, a fraction of an SC after the first support ship returned, reports of illness from the engineering teams began to come in. Acting quickly, the admiral sealed the lower decks and waited to see if what they feared had come to pass. Indeed, it was a painfully short wait before the deaths began to pile up. Separation of systems saved the bridge crew. To accommodate high-ranking officials with different atmospheric preferences, the bridge and its quarters were equipped with their own atmospheric recyclers. Still, the toll was atrocious. In half SC, the non-bridge crew's mortality rate was 100%. The question then was how the Earth microorganisms had come on board. None of the support vehicles had ever entered Earth's atmosphere, let alone come in direct contact with the planet. The Admiral contacted the humans' emissaries, demanding an explanation. What he learned demonstrates just how extreme life forms from a death world can be. Of the many airborne viruses and bacteria native to Earth, most require an active host, often a macroorganism, death world after all, and are incapable of surviving outside of their native ecosystem for any length of time. Many are capable of entering a state of dormancy for at least brief periods, and some for hundreds of SCs, even indefinitely, until conditions for their propagation improve. And a few, a hardy, terrifying few, are even capable of surviving the vacuum of space itself in this state of dormancy. With the help of the humans, the Admiral and the remaining crew were able to reconfigure their biometric scanners to pinpoint several microorganisms known to be capable of surviving under these conditions. They activated the scanners and turned them upon their own ship. The main compartment glowed almost fully red as they knew it would. What frightened them was the outside of the mothership. It was speckled with pinpricks of red, nascent diseases waiting only for warmth, for oxygen, for a rake host to activate and spread. Then they turned the scanners toward Earth, and what they saw was more frightening still. The entire planet glowed an angry, pulsing red, and thin, barely visible red wisps emanated from it as it spun on its axis. As it trailed off traces of atmosphere on its ever-repeating journey around its star, those traces of atmosphere carried with them a cocktail of viruses and bacteria. A cocktail that included strains capable of surviving the void of space, capable of latching onto any passing object, capable of marking any ship which dared draw near to Earth, capable of destroying any species foolish enough to carry those lethal passengers home. The Admiral is honored by the RAC for both his awareness during that ill-fated contact mission and his willingness to do what was necessary. After sending detailed reports of all that had transpired to Altrak, he drove the mothership into Earth's star, ensuring that the diseases his vessel now carried could never spread beyond that system. The entire system is quarantined, and so far, peace and safety have been maintained. So for now, we can all still have our picturesque death worlds full of violent but stupid monsters, poisonous plants, natural disasters galore. For now, we can keep firing our imaginations with tales of survival, of adventure, or of resourcefulness. But if you ever wonder what a real death world would look like, go to the planetary archives. Look up the Narration Earth expedition and find the biometric scans taken by the Admiral. Look at the Wisps of Red and see what a death world truly looks like.